Arthritis. Now, if not personally, I am pretty sure that you know someone who has. Arthur, not very popular, but he is a frequent visitor and he causes problems and he never really leaves. And furthermore, no one ever intentionally invites Arthur over. Are you with me? This is Janice Russell, and as someone who has arthritis in several body parts, I just really wanted to explore more about it and thought I would share some of this information with you. Top level disclaimer, not a medical professional, not, don't want you to take this information and make assumptions. I will give some resources at the end so that you can know where I got some very useful information. So anyway, what is arthritis? Well, it is a complex and very common condition that affects millions of people in the world, and it manifests itself in several different ways. So here are some of the most common ones: joint pain, stiffness, swelling, redness, decreased range of motion. And it really is, arthritis is a broad term that refers to more than 100 different conditions affecting the joints, the surrounding tissues, and other connective structures. The most common types: osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, psoriatic arthritis, and juvenile arthritis. So who does it affect? Well, outside of those who get juvenile arthritis, obviously, it tends to affect older adults because risk of arthritis increases as you age. Women, and they are more likely to get or to develop, I should say, rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis than men. Individuals with chronic conditions, so for example, people with obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses. That's what happens when I talk too fast. And interestingly enough, veterans, studies have shown that arthritis prevalence is higher among veterans when compared to non-veterans. How is it diagnosed? Well, it involves a combination. You've got medical history, physical examination, imaging tests, and laboratory tests. Now, how is it, or what are the long-term impacts of it? Well, if it's left untreated or if it's poorly managed, it can be things like joint damage, reduced mobility, chronic pain, deformities, and mental health challenges. And that's because a lot of times there's that increased risk of depression and anxiety due to the chronic pain. So early diagnosis and treatment can help really mitigate all those effects. So let's talk a little bit about treatment options. And I say that with a little grain of salt, maybe, because there's no cure, but there are various treatments that can help to manage the symptoms and improve quality of life. So one, which is one I talk about a lot when I talk about conditions, are lifestyle adjustments, exercise, weight management, healthy diets. And so I know that when I work with clients, a lot of times we're looking at, regardless of their medical condition, we're looking at, okay, how can we create routines so that things like exercise, weight management, and healthy diet are easier for them to accomplish in the course of their life. Also, there are self-care strategies. So, for example, pain management techniques, so things like hot and cold therapy, etc. Stress reduction, so practicing mindfulness, deep breathing, meditation, all that kind of stuff. Joint protection, so like using assistive devices, ergonomic tools, and proper posture can help minimize strain. As far as medical treatments, there is physical therapy, there are medications, there's joint replacement. I know all about that. And then there are some Eastern medicine approaches. And I always like to include these because I know that a number of people really like the holistic approach to this. And these can be used as a complement to Western medicine, not necessarily instead of, but as a complement. So for example, acupuncture, acupressure, qigong, tai chi, herbal remedies, etc. can all be really helpful. And so, this is the kind of thing where knowing and doing are two separate things. So as I indicated, for myself and my clients, a large part of managing all this is to create a schedule that supports activities like the mindfulness, the meal prep, the exercise, etc. And it can be really, really hard because you sort of look like, hey, I'm going to cook a healthy meal, 5 nights a week. But then when you're starting that new habit, ooh, it can crash pretty easily unless you really look at what are some small changes. So I would love for you to think about what would be some small change that you could create to help either possibly prevent or help to manage arthritis at this point. I'd love for you to put that below, or if you have a question about any of this, or if you want to share your experience around this, that would be really awesome. And also in the comments, you will also find the resources that I used for this, which were the Arthritis Foundation, the Cleveland Clinic, and Medical News Today. Thanks so much for joining me. Janice Russell here. Would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can see when other videos drop. Thanks so much. Bye.